Introduce JJ over here. Barely made it on time. Her whole adventure, she basically just flew in, so it's really exciting for us to have her here. I'm gonna let her introduce herself. There's a lot of things to talk about, but she is very, very cool. So give her a little quick kind of round of applause. Thank you, JJ, for coming. Really excited. And I'll let you take it away.
Thank you for having me. It's a pretty weird feeling because after I became a content creator, I always do sessions online, and this is my first time seeing my audience offline. So yeah, it's very excited. So hi guys, I'm Jia Dai, and you can call me JJ, and you can search JJ Never Sleeps on multiple social medias, and you can find me everywhere. So first, a brief introduction about myself. Currently, I'm associate product manager at LinkedIn. If there is anyone who wants to break into product management, you probably know about the APM program in big tech companies. So this is a rotational program for new grad product managers or for experienced hire who haven't been a full-time product manager before. And currently, I'm in my second rotation. We have 1 year for each rotation, and this is my second year at LinkedIn. And right now, working on ask identity. We can come back to that and talk about how boring that is. But my first rotation is working on user growth, specifically focusing on user acquisition in the United States and global. And previously, I graduated from Duke University in 2020 and had studied computer science for my undergrad at Wuhan University. And before working at LinkedIn, I have PM experiences in AI platform, growth, healthcare, wearable product. This is only me trying different industries and different roles. And also have done digital marketing intern at Tesla and technical program manager intern at TikTok. And I founded a startup in my undergrad, and our product was applied in short video industry at that time. And feel free to follow my YouTube at JJ Never Sleeps and connect with me on LinkedIn. And today I will talk about my career and what I'm working on at LinkedIn, and just focusing what I'm thinking about right now in terms of product and what is happening in the industry. And I will talk about how I broke into product management, but not specifically talking about product management interview related questions. So if you want to check out my YouTube channel. There are mock interviews and interview techniques there. So how did I get here? I have different versions of stories. The true version of story is that I decided to become a product manager when I was in high school. But I usually don't talk about that when it comes to interviews because that sounds pretty vague. So this is my first experience working as a product manager. I founded a startup in my sophomore year, and the first product we built was, you can see the black and white logo here. That is a platform to assess the value of virtual items. So if you play games, if you buy, let's say, an item or a sword in the game, in some games, you will probably be able to trade that item on third platform or in-game. And you will probably be able to set up the price yourself. And our platform was to gathering the first party and third party data and assess the value of the virtual items. So you can know whether it is the fair trade or not, or what price you want to set up for the item that you want to sell. Originally, we have this product to participate in that competition. You can see the picture there. And it was in 2016, there was a finance application competition held by Citigroup. And we won the national champion for that competition. But the funny thing is, after the presentation, all the stuff, after we won the national champion, there were no investors reaching out to us. There were investors reaching out to the second place, but there weren't investors reaching out to us. So we were like, what is happening here? Must be something wrong. So, and another prize that we won was the Technology Implementation Award. So we were thinking about, okay, there's something wrong about this product, right? There probably isn't a product market fit for that. So we were thinking about whether to leverage the same technology to do something else. And the reason we won the Technology Implementation Award is because when we gather data from, no matter it is first party or third party, there is a technology that we use, is called OCR. So basically, you want to identify text from an image. And in 2016, that technologies performed pretty poorly in Chinese language. So that's how our team was very leading in that specific area at that time. So we were thinking about computer vision is very similar to OCR. So we transferred that skill set to computer vision and built our second product, which is Skywatch. In 2016, that was the time, remind you guys, I'm pretty old and I was in the tech industry by that time. That was the time that there were a lot of short video companies blooming in Chinese market. Okay, cool. So there were live streaming platforms and short video companies starting in a Chinese market. And at that time, there was a very severe problem for them. There was just like the headline all the time. There were illegal content on their platforms. And it is very hard for them to moderate the content quality. So what they have done at that time was two ways. First is to leverage the user to report the content themselves. And second is they hire a lot of like thousands of what they call supervisors to manually review the videos. Or in a live streaming concept, they just switch from one live room to another to see whether there is any illegal content. And for our product, we use computer vision to identify the illegal content automatically. So later on, there was a short video company using our product to identify illegal content. There are like 3 million videos uploading to our platform every day. So that was huge. So that was the start of me being a product manager. And later on, I came to the US for my master, and that was a master in business. So it's just a beginning of me exploring business world and figure out there are actually so many other roles other than product management. So I'm trying out different roles like digital marketing, and at Tencent it was product manager and also technical product manager, program manager. Trying to have a taste of different industry and different roles, and came back to product management because I still feel like first, very comfortable in PM, and second is also aligned with my long-term career goal, which is to have a company myself. So, but I bet most of you guys are still students. So for you guys, if you're not sure which industry that you want to work on, or what business role you want to work on, just to try it out. I think for internship, it is very cheap for you to try different roles and different industries. And also, no matter you want to be a TPM or a PM, I think the most ridiculous or the most crazy things that I've ever done is to be a PM in smartwatch product and healthcare. I will never do it again, but doing that just like provide you more context of what it is like to work on hardware. But to be an intern in those companies, the fundamental skill set that you leverage to get the job is very basic. So it is pretty cheap for you to switch between different roles and different industries to try it out. And talking about my content creation, so in 2020, when the COVID hit, I just stayed at home for too long. So I started my content creation channel. And another reason, or the main reason for me to start my channel, was because I came to the US in 2018. And 1 month after I came here, I got an interview invite from Google APM program. And I was searching for anyone in our program, trying to find another one who got the same interview, but no one did. And I didn't know that many people from Duke undergrad at that time. So I was literally like Googling how to prepare for Google APM interview. And I didn't know that there is a clear path to get that job. So in 2020, I was like, so this is my second year here. I have to identify or figure out a path to success. I'm not saying that I will 100% get a job that I want, get an ideal role, but I can make sure if people follow this path, 70% or 80% of them can get a job in the US. So this is like me doing research and doing a lot of work and make sure that me and my followers are on the same page. And at that time, when I do research, another problem that I have was communication, because back in China, we're not using English, and it's literally like my second year using English in a professional setting. So when I did research, I mentioned this to my friend at LinkedIn a couple of days ago. When I did research about the last person who was the same situation like me, came to US for a master program and got an APM role, was 8 years ago when I did the research in 2020. And I reached out that person who's also a LinkedIn APM and got contact to him and share our common struggles on a daily basis. So that was my research. I pretty much followed every APM in the industry on LinkedIn who exists on LinkedIn. And figure out a path to get there. After that, I got like a lot more followers, and it become a little bit formal for me, not like that personal. So sharing a lot more about like blog, a day as a LinkedIn product manager. It's a pretty typical topic for a YouTuber. But yeah. And then I will talk about my current job. What did I get from LinkedIn APM program? So for the 2 rotations that I work on, the first one is consumer user growth, focusing on acquisition. So the skill set that I learned from my first rotation is, for a lot of growth product managers, you always heard a word from them called gold digger. So they most likely, this is like the situation for growth team in a lot of big tech companies. The leadership probably doesn't care that much about what product you're going to build in the next quarter, but you have to sign up some kind of target on metrics at the beginning of the quarter. So whatever you do, whatever you can do that quarter to make that number happen. So a lot of people will call the growth product manager gold digger because there'll always be a bag of ideas you have. And sometimes like you have your sizing and your expectations for different projects. And maybe at the end of the quarter, you know that some project is a high ROI and you haven't used that for a long time. And that is like the last card that you want to play in that quarter. You just like pull that idea out and let the engineering team implement it like in 2 weeks and get a like high impact on weekly user work sessions. But yeah, we are trying to find the big opportunities, the next big thing for LinkedIn as a consumer product. And also as a growth product manager, you have a lot of visibility and network. For a lot of like enterprise product, like the second rotation I'm currently in, it is very hard for you to resonate what you are doing with leadership. But growth product managers don't have that problem because the only thing that they show to leadership is the number. So you have access to a lot of C-suite at LinkedIn, a lot of leadership at LinkedIn, and also leadership from other companies being a growth product manager. And also learn from great leaders. There are not, it is not lack of great leaders at big tech companies. Although I know most of the people working in tech right now are probably anxious and depressed given the recession right now, but there are a lot of great leaders and there are a lot of great people that you can learn from. And moving on, my second rotation, currently working on ads identity for half a year. And so what we are building, I can give you a quick context about what we are building. Consumer user growth is very easy to understand, but ads platform is not. So what we do as LinkedIn, what we also call it as LinkedIn marketing solution. So we have a lot of budget or requests from advertisers, right? Like big enterprise products. They want LinkedIn as a platform to send their ads to professionals in our case. So most likely we will send their advertisement on LinkedIn, or we can also have an option to send the advertisement outside LinkedIn. So how it works is for a lot of websites like the New York Times or CNN.com, they don't have the technology or they don't have the capacity to use the user data on their platform to analyze what targeted ads they want to send to that user. So what they do is there are those companies are what we call publishers. And there are also companies what we call ad exchange. So like New York Times in this case will tell the ad exchange that there is an ad position on my website. I don't know who this person is, but I have all these signals provided to you. And the ad exchange, they also don't have the ability to analyze the user behavior. Instead, what they will do is to tell advertisers like Google, Facebook, or LinkedIn, there is an ad position, there is an ad request on New York Times, and these are all the signals we have. So do your magic and send the ads here. So we got those signals and we analyzed what person that could be and match with a marketing campaign that we think could potentially have a higher ROI. And based on that ROI, we have a bid price. That's why those companies are called ad exchange, because it is the same process of how an exchange really works. So Google has a price, Facebook has a price, LinkedIn has a price, and these prices from multiple companies will compare with each other and the highest price win. So this is how the ads exchanges works. And in terms of ads identity, is basically the first step to identify that user using all the signals we can get from the publishers or the ad exchange. So given that, it is a platform product manager role. What we do is an identity platform, right? This is the first step when we get a request, get a supply from publishers or ad exchange. And also, it highly depends on AI. We use all the signals, throw them into our AI algorithm, and improve the AI algorithm to improve the targeting precision. And also, from consumer to enterprise, learned a bunch about how enterprise product works. And also, because the second one is about operational and organizational processes, because usually growth, this is also what I recently learned. For growth team, it is because the numbers are just the numbers, right? And consumer product is very easy for every cross-functional partner to understand. There aren't many contexts for you to catch up when you understand the growth product. So usually in the big tech company, growth teams are more mature in terms of organizational and operational processes. It is very clear what is the job to be done for different cross-functional partners. And also in LinkedIn case, because we have our consumer product earlier than the enterprise product, especially for the marketing solutions. So the marketing solutions team is pretty new. We are growing pretty fast, but we're still pretty new. So there are a lot of like operational or organizational processes that could be improved. With this comparison, it is a learning for me how to improve for my current team. So these are the things that I learned. And then I want to talk about what I'm currently thinking about is the impact from generative AI. How many of you guys tried ChatGPT? I'm proud of you guys. Yeah, when you might probably have a full-time job, you don't have time to try to ChatGPT, you know. So this is what LinkedIn is currently focusing on, and all like the whole tech industry is focusing on. Generative AI doesn't need like more cases to prove that it has a product market fit. So the problem is how these big tech companies could use generative AI to make sure that they're not disrupted by other AI startups. So what I've been thinking about is what is the generative AI's impact on growth and ads, right? If you think about growth, it highly depends on, from the first bullet point, if it comes to a growth team, we can talk about like general growth or segmental growth. By general growth is what I did in my first rotation. Basically, I grow new users in the US and global. I don't specifically target a market, and I don't specifically target a user segment. But there are teams doing segmental growth. For example, they probably target India market because they want to grow a lot of weekly active users specifically for India market. Or they're targeting a user segment. For example, they target blue-collar workers on LinkedIn instead of white-collar workers, or targeting students at LinkedIn. So there is this difference. Most of the tech companies have teams for both sides, and also acquisition versus engagement. I'm working on acquisition, acquiring new users. There are also teams working on engagement, basically leveraging the network we already have on LinkedIn and try to grow network based on that. Or we're trying to send out notifications and engagement, which is very notorious, to improve the weekly app user or sessions. And given that, growth team is very highly depends on partnership and marketing. Marketing is easy to understand. Basically, we have our own marketing department send out ads, use LinkedIn, try LinkedIn, and we make sure that that user experience is smooth for our consumers. And partnership is basically, we will have partnership with other tech companies or other channels to make sure that there is a smooth integration, there is a shared value that both companies want to pursue, and there is a shared outcome that we expect. And for ads industry, what is happening in the ads industry is, first, like I said, we use signals for targeting ads. And also there are a lot of privacy regulations going on. So for identity specifically, a huge part of our job is privacy mitigation. So for example, I don't know how many you guys have heard of ATT as the privacy regulation published by Apple. So basically, before they publish ATT, we can have a signal of what we call IDFA or IDFB as device IP to track the uniqueness of a user. But after that, we cannot use that signal to do targeted ads. There are a lot of similar regulations coming up, like the DMA in Europe, in EU, will be live March 2024. And also we will lose IP address and Google cookies later on. There are a lot of privacy regulations coming up. So for the ads identity team specifically, we need to make sure we can still identify that user, or what is the ultimate goal or ultimate processes for us to send targeted ads. So given that, you can see growth and ads are pretty similar, because growth is basically the advertiser in the ads, right? So with generative AI, there will be a significant change on how people get access to content, or how people get access to the opportunities that they want, right? Right now, how we do content recommendation or job recommendations is highly depends on the AI recommendation and the existing user behavior data we gather on LinkedIn. But is it really necessary, or it is comprehensive enough for us to do recommendation based on the data that we have only on LinkedIn, right? There will probably be portal in the future that we could leverage shared user behavior from different platforms. And for a lot of companies like Facebook or LinkedIn, we could serve as something like a data center, right? We don't need to have the recommendation. We don't need to have the user side of experience. And the same thing happened for ads. So the article that consumers will see on New York Times or CNN.com, they will probably won't come to that page to get the content, right? Then why should we bid on that ads request later on, right? And if the users are not coming to that page, we won't get an impression or a reach if we send targeted ads to that position. So there will be a significant change in both of the industries, and that is the area that I'm thinking about recently. And also, this is not my words, but I believe it is a shared belief in today's world that generative AI will enable Web3. So if you think about these companies serving at data centers, then what is really the difference between the data on Facebook versus the data on LinkedIn, right? Why should LinkedIn own your professional data? Why should Facebook own your social data, right? Why shouldn't you own your own data, right? As a content creator specifically, I feel the struggle of having the same content on different platforms, because different platforms have different recommendation systems. Different platforms have different ways to let user get access to your content, but can it change using generative AI in the future? I think that's a very interesting topic to think about. Yeah, and so far I've talked a lot, and I'm open to any questions.
Okay, I'll start with things. To talk more about like for yourself, who is someone you look up to? Because I know like you're very cool, but like as you said, there's a lot of great leaders and people like throughout your career. Who have you learned the most from, and who you look up to?
I think it will be my first manager at LinkedIn. She is this second recorded? You can search her name on LinkedIn. Okay, her name is Ara Lovett. She's responsible for user acquisition or core growth at LinkedIn. After I joined LinkedIn, there has always been struggle, right? Like coming into a new life stage. This has been a topic I talked about just before I came here with my Lyft driver. After you like join the professional world and start your full-time job, it is basically a different life stage for you. And your lifestyle will change. You will think again what kind of person, what kind of lifestyle you want. And I think I look up to her because she is very sharp. She is very compassionate leader. And at the same time, she contributes a lot to her family. And I think she is a living proof for me that women can take care of both and can take care of both pretty well. So yeah, that's a person that I look up to. And also other people, there is a very funny story when I interview Lyft APM program. In my final on-site interview, that was a very amazing learning experience, by the way. One of my interviewer was the CPO at Lyft. And I don't know why I got assigned to an interviewer like this, but he's pretty cool, you know. And like one thing you can see from a compassionate leader is when he walk into that Zoom meeting, right? Usually interviewer will be like, why don't you start by introducing yourself? He instead, what he did was to introduce himself first. He told me what he has done in different companies. And he had a startup before, got acquired by Facebook. And then he moved to Lyft as the, I think, director in growth, user growth, and his career trajectory. And after all the introduction, I already stalked his LinkedIn before he talked about all of that. But I was like, there's nothing I could do rather than just clapping my hands in a Zoom meeting, you know. I would love to live his life. And later on, I keep contact with him on LinkedIn. And last year when I worked at LinkedIn, I invited him as a guest speaker for growth work, specifically talking about how he did growth at Lyft and what he think about user growth for startups, because now he retired. No, I think he quit tech company as an executive and work as a VC and advisor. So yeah, I think these it's very easy for me to fall for a compassionate leader, as you can see. And I do believe that there are a lot of like role models in tech companies that you look up to when they are compassionate, they care about you, and also like what they have done can really amaze you.
Very cool.
Is it because I told you guys not to ask me about interview questions? So yeah, please.
Yeah, given the time you graduated, I believe you chose the States over China. So how do you foresee the opportunities in China right now, given the impact of generating AI, especially in terms of like the role of product?
Yeah. First, I can talk about why I choose the US over China. So if there are like my previous followers on WeChat, you can also know that I got a lot of offers back in China from Tencent, Alibaba, and ByteDance. 3 of them are pretty amazing product offers. But what I really like was concerned about was first about like, I don't think I will be a good fit for team culture because I don't quite understand, and like I understand why it exists, but I don't think it is sustainable when it comes to multiple teams working on the exact same thing and compete with each other. I don't think it is a healthy team culture. And I think that is a waste of human resource and it should be improved, which proved my point when they laid off a lot of people. So that is one thing about the team culture and how like it operates in the organizational landscape. And second, I prefer joining an APM program after my graduation. I do have an APM, like a similar to APM program offer from Tencent, but I don't think that is really what I want because it doesn't make sense to me when you like hire 50 APMs per year, but also hire 300 new grad PMs at the same time. Because why APM program is selective and is educational is because LinkedIn only hire 10 people every year from new grads, right? And there isn't an opportunity for the teams to hire other new grad PMs at the same time. So what happened for LinkedIn is, for example, after my second rotation, what I could do at LinkedIn is to choose whatever team I want to join. It is not a manager's decision, it's the APM's decision. Because there aren't other new grads, that's why. And when you choose a team, the team's manager automatically get a headcount because you choose their team. So it is a free headcount to go. All the managers will just like reach out to you, want to get you to join their teams. So like, because of these two reasons, I choose US over China when I graduate. And in terms of generative AI, I think not specifically for GAI, but for AI space, I think the AI labs back in China are operating in a very different way with the companies in US. And I think when it comes to generative AI, we could win in application, but whether there will be significant finding in research in this year or the coming 2 years, that is a question to be asked. That's my take. Don't quote on me. And if the organizer ever send this recording, please do this point. And what I'm saying is only personal insights, doesn't represent my employer in any way. Yes, please.
We all know that like breaking into PM is pretty hard. And I was wondering, what do you think are some of the like necessary kind of like requirements to get a PM internship?
To be honest, an internship is way easier than a full-time. Because for a lot of like, especially big tech companies, they have very well-rounded internship program. So if you're an intern there, your project or your product scope is very well-defined, and you pretty much just go through the whole product design or product development process and learn about how a product manager works on the team. So there will be like very dedicated mentor or manager for you to make sure that your success. So for intern, what these big tech companies look for from a new grad is first about your thought process, whether you have when it comes to like interview questions, they probably will ask you about like product design, product execution questions, right? Those questions, they do not expect you to have a right answer, but they expect you to communicate clearly about your thought process and whether you have user empathy, whether you have strategic thinking, right? Whether you have that part that we're looking for, but not necessarily to be perfect because there will be people educating you at the same time. And also whether you have, a lot of companies prefer entrepreneurship experience because that means you are taking initiatives and making things happen. Not necessarily entrepreneurship, but also some leadership positions in colleges as well. So when it comes to a lot of like PMing work in the company, there are a lot of like take responsibilities and take the ownership of a product. And if you're like not that kind of person, then it is very hard for you to be a trustworthy product manager in the company. So that's what they're looking for. In a full-time role, they expect you to have stronger user empathy and a stronger strategic thinking. It just requires more. So that is what you can do. If you don't have an entrepreneurship experience, just try to have like multiple business roles in different like tech companies. That will help.
You came from a technical background, that was like your breakthrough into the PM industry, but let's say you don't come from a technical background, more specifically, you come from like a product design background. How would you, like, do you have any advice, like, if somebody's like used to working with users and like have that empathetic like process, but they want to approach the product from a technical perspective, how would an approach integrating PM differ for a person like that versus like a person that comes from a technical background?
Mhm. First of all, being a product manager is not about being technical. It's about understanding the business and know how you can use your product to serve your customers better. So it doesn't matter whether you come from a technical background or design background. As long as you understand the business, understanding the business and what customers want is what the interviewers are looking for. Of course, there will be different roles requiring different levels of technical background. For example, if you are working on like technical foundation platform kind of product, pretty much like what I'm working on right now, then if you are not coming from a technical background, it will be a little bit difficult for you to onboard, but it doesn't mean that you cannot achieve success in that job. So what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to your interview, make sure that you can show the interviewer that you have a comprehensive skill set, and also focus on the business and how you can serve the customer more.
So I know that a lot of people are trying to break into PM. There's a lot of hype and a lot of talk about it. Can you talk a little bit about what surprised you after actually like getting the job, and like if there was anything that defied your expectations coming in?
That's a very good question. Because this has been a question I've been thinking about for like 1.5 years. So let me set up the expectations straight here, okay? The happiest time that you guys will have is the time that you got an offer from a big tech company without entering that position, okay? That is the happiest life in the time in your life, because you got validation, but at the same time, you don't need to work, okay? But after you join the company, you kind of forgot about how special that position is, to be honest. Because it's true that you get a lot of visibility, like, for example, the LinkedIn APMs. I bet the LinkedIn CEO can call all of us our names when he saw us, because there are multiple opportunities to reach out to him and talk with him whatsoever. And also we have an international trip, travel with the executives for half a month. So it's really easy for us to get access to them and learn from them. But it's just like you have so much competition within the cohort, and all of them are damn smart. So you kind of forget about the uniqueness of yourself. And you kind of you have to make sure this is only a one stage of your life and you can't stuck here. So what I have been doing is, of course I can handle the competition, but just to understand that this is a corporation anyways. So there will be career ladder, there will be a lot of operational things that you need to deal with. But is it really something you want, and what you really want to achieve in your career is the question I've been asking myself. And how much energy I want to spend on winning this competition, winning achieving whatever promotion I want as an APM at LinkedIn versus what I really want to do in tech. That is the trade-off that I have to make.
Hi, JJ. Thank you so much for this great presentation today. So I want to hear some of your opinions about how to do the trade-off between a core business of a company and the new rising business of a company. Previously, I interned for TikTok monetization, product manager role. So it's also advertisement platform. So I really like my team, but I feel for the whole process of advertisement, it was break into several different teams like delivery, creative, and trust and safety, and catalog a lot. And so currently I'm interviewing for a kind of generative AI role, also for backend. So I feel there's a lot of uncertainty And it's a little bit more risky, but it also sounds exciting because this trend is kind of like a very hot and popular topic among both academia and industry. But we really don't know like how like ByteDance's own natural language processing model or generative AI will go. Like, would that like probably not be able to exceed OpenAI at all? So like, how do you feel about the trade-off between core business and writing business?
Yeah, that's a very great question. I thought about it a lot when I work on the AI, work with the AI lab at Tencent. First of all, generative AI is going to have a lot of applications in the industry. That is for sure, 100%. What you need to make sure is whether the technical roles, the technical people at ByteDance can achieve that. So how you're going to make sure of that is to check out the research projects that they have, and also the paper that they publish, the pattern they have, and see whether that is specifically just for the user scenarios at ByteDance. If it is not limited to the use cases at ByteDance, and the research or the pattern or whatever finding they have is applied or used for a lot of other companies as well, then that means there are very compelling technical resources at that company. But if it is specifically for their use cases, then as a PM, it is something that you have to worry about.
Because you've done so much research around generative AI, I was just curious, how do you see that impacting the life or work of a product manager in the future? Like, do you use that in your day-to-day while you're working? And how do you see that happen?
Yeah, so far, no. Because, sad for me right now, for my second rotation, I don't even write PRDs. So I don't even have a document that I need ChatGPT to help me. So far, I don't see it replacing product management, but I see it assisting product management a lot. So for example, there are a lot of like prioritization related work, road mapping related work. For strategy, it is more like business driven, but you have to gather a lot of data from the industry, which is also something generative AI could help. My question is, how mature is this technology right now, and how much human assistance it need when it comes to accomplishing a task like this? So can we are we saying we can trust it 90%, 80%, or 100%, right? Whether there will be the data point that you really need when you trust the assistant for 100%. And what is the difference when it comes to different PM roles in different companies then, right? So when I was doing content creation, a learning that I always have is, I believe this is how information transform or transport in communities or in human beings. So how fast can you get access to the information you need is a skill set. And also how well you can understand the information presented to you is a representation of your IQ. And after consuming that information, how well you can persuade others to believe the same thing that you believe in is a representative of emotional intelligence. And what generative AI could do is the first part. Whether it can do the second part is a question, how much we can trust it. But the third part is definitely a question. So I do think it cannot replace PM for sure, but how much it can help PM do our jobs is a question. She first.
It's really fascinating to hear about your career journey and all these different roles you've had. I'm curious to see how each of those kind of shape what you were throughout the rest of your career.
Yeah, there is a positive way of saying that word. Not saying that. A positive way of saying that is, like I said, right? You get a taste of different industries and different product lines, and you can help you become a better PM. And one of the feedback I got from my like first rotation, my second manager was, I could always trust you about like your product management skills. Like this has not like never be a problem for me. So I guess like my multiple PM internships in different products and in different industries helped me in some way. Negative way of saying that is when you don't know what you are looking for and you try the PMing in different industries and product lines, you kind of know which team that you want to go for and which team really matter if you want to, for example, to have a consumer product startup in the future, right? And also I found myself really confused when I came here for my first year. I kind of like was confused about two things that I was confused about. The first one is I had great passion in business, like for sure. I can talk about business strategy like for hours, and yeah, and at that time I was a lot of like, I bet like some of you guys might have similar experience, like student consultant for a lot of companies outside, and I just enjoy the process of getting into different industries and know what is happening there. That was the first thing that I was confused about because it wasn't fully aligned with what I was looking for before. And second was before I came here, I had a PM internship and also a part-time product manager role in a startup in China. And both experiences, I don't really enjoy the PM experience there. So I was confused whether I still want to be a PM. But later on, AJ's kind of like show me basically the product management education you got or the product management experience you got highly depends on the team and the company. So make sure like to understand yourself, what kind of team culture that you are looking for, and also what type of PM were, what type of PM were like what type of PMing work fit in your personality more.
If you went back 1.5 years from when you first got your offer for LinkedIn, right? And you got to pick which like programs or teams you went in for your rotations, would you still have chosen these two?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. The first team for sure. Like my experience at the first team is like paradise. Okay. It's really paradise. I didn't realize how addicted I am to numbers and impact so I left the team. Okay. At first I was thinking, you know, growth product manager is all about maths and it's not really about user empathy. But turns out, guess what? As PM is more about maths instead of user empathy. So the first team, definitely yes. The second team, I feel like I learned a lot from my second team. I would really like say I did said this to my manager exactly yesterday. Because we were like quarter feedback season. So I did told him that because of all the identity headwinds and all the privacy regulations in the industry, it is a super difficult job to work on as right now. It's a ride or die thing. My manager, what he has been successfully doing is he has a pretty, I think, promising vision for how, oh, by the way, LinkedIn ads is B2B ads. So what B2B ads means is you will never see us trying to sell you Nike shoes on LinkedIn. What we are trying to sell you is probably, I guess, what you can probably see on LinkedIn is a master program from another university, right? Or some like project management tools, because we target you as a CMU student or based on whatever internship you had before. So we thought that you have a decision-making power in that company or in the organization that you're in. So we are trying to sell you an enterprise product instead of a consumer product. That's what B2B marketing is. So my manager has a pretty promising vision for B2B marketplace and how B2B advertising should work in the future with all the identity headwinds. So I think that is very like, so for especially for enterprise product managers, your industry insight is extremely important. It's pretty much decides your ceiling in the enterprise product like space. So and given all the headwinds, there are more responsibilities on our team. So I think it is a great experience. And this is exactly what an APM should look for from the program. Have a taste of different products, and also learning is the most important thing. So I will definitely still choose the two teams, and both of the leaders are pretty amazing.
All right, we've got time for one more-ish question, and then we'll start to kind of wrap things up. So.
Actually, he.
I'm the one that's supposed to wrap up, so,
Okay.
yes, we have one more question.
Difference of being here in China or full-time PM in US. So it's like difference between intern and full-time PM, and also experience in China.
I think I couldn't like exactly tell the difference between a full-time job in China versus a full-time job here, because the only full-time job I have back in China was in a startup, and I was the only PM there. So what I could say is the PM intern back in China versus the PM intern here, because I did mentor an intern last summer here in the US. I think for internship, most likely your work will be pretty slice and dice. But the difference between these two, like the tech company in these two countries, is in the same thing. Like in China, people are more stressed, and for internship, you have to really understand what you're doing to get the right information from your managers, because your manager most likely won't have the expectation of telling you all this. This is one of the learnings I got mentoring like hundreds of interns when I was a content creator, when I am a content creator. But here in the US, it is way easier for you to get all the information, specifically from a strategy perspective. A lot of interns I saw from China, they don't know why they're doing this. But in the US, even if the intern didn't ask, mentors will tell you, because it is a skill set that you have to have. And we will tell you, if you didn't ask this time, you should ask next time. So yeah, I think in terms of like teams will allocate more time for you as an intern in the US big tech companies. Not saying medium and small size companies, because I'm not sure they will have the equivalent PM education. But in big tech companies, internship programs are very dedicated programs. But in China, most likely it's an assistant role. Yeah.
Perfect. To wrap things up and moving away from, let's say, LinkedIn APM, JJ, do you want to ask about JJ Never Sleeps as a brand? Like you mentioned about growth and ads comes together. How do you measure success as an organization for JJ Never Sleep? And I think more so, do you have any advice for people who are starting an organization who wants to break into PM?
Yeah, that's a very good question that my team have been thinking about for like a couple of months right now. So sometimes I will mistakenly saying that I was a content creator. The reason for that is I haven't been updating for half a year. The reason why I have been updating is I kind of changed the mission that I used to have when I started the channel. When I started this channel, I want to give confidence to the Chinese community here, telling them that even if you just come here for months, it is super visible for you to land a PM role here. And you should dream big to land in APM roles in big tech companies. That was my mission. But right now, with a lot of my followers starting their own channels, and I don't think there's a lack of content in this area anymore. And people are not lack of confidence anymore. Even with this recession, people are landing jobs. And our growth in Chinese PM community here is pretty huge. So like Tesla, right? Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. My mission is achieved with a lot of other PMs in the Chinese community as well. So I don't see that as my unique mission. And I've been making a lot of friends from my channel. That's why I started from WeChat instead of like TikTok, which have a lot of traffic, but not like personal touch with your followers. And a lot of friends are like become my very close friends and support me, and I support them on a daily basis. So that's what I'm looking for. And originally I have this 5-year timeline. So basically in the 5 years, I will continue creating content. I'll make sure that I have a group of friends whom I trust enough that I can tell in the future, if I start a company, I will start with them as co-founders. And I think right now with 2 years of the run, I already found those group of people. So guess what? I grow faster than I thought. So right now I'm thinking about, that's also like why I've done this kind of session in multiple like colleges, but every time I will change the topic a little bit to focus not only on career perspective, but also like what I'm thinking about right now. So I could make sure whoever listened to my session are on the same page with me. And so like in the future, see, everybody is busy, right? You guys know, get a taste of that when you reach out to people on LinkedIn. If you reach out to me on LinkedIn asking me about product manager interviews, I probably won't reply to you. Let's say it right now, okay? But if you discuss generative AI with me, I will for sure reply to you because that's what I'm thinking about right now. And that's also how you do networking, not only with me, with other people as well. You have to know what they're thinking right now to get into their life schedule, right? So that's why I changed the topic a little bit. I want to make sure that my friends or people who I can get access to are on the same page with me, so I can make close friends. So this has been a like shared goal from 3 years ago till now. But how much I want to help the Chinese community is a question I have for myself.
Okay, last thing to end things up, and then we'll take like a little group picture. But why JJ never sleeps? What's the name?
When I first came to business school, my idea was JJ needs to sleep because I didn't have enough time for sleep. I was just like making decks and researching about on business strategy all the time. And it has been my idea on all the social media till I work at Tesla, and my coworker was like, "You work at Tesla? What do you mean JJ needs to sleep?" And you shouldn't have that mindset at all. So I changed to JJ never sleeps and used the idea till today. So yeah, that's the story behind it.
All right, that is great. We're gonna take a group picture. Thank you, JJ, for everything. This is amazing. All right, real quick, we'll just get everyone. If you guys could like come up to the front-ish, I guess. I think that's the best way to do this. We'll just take a quick picture, and then that is, I guess, all we're there.
Ah, I heard you. I heard you. Sorry. Thank you.